Hi, I'm Judy Fishel. In this video, I will share some surprising information I found while doing research for my book, Straight A's Are Not Enough. Now that you're in college or soon to be in college, what are you most excited about? Most students are excited about being on their own, making new friends, sports, or parties. But try to remember a time when you were really excited about learning. Most students admit that they were excited about learning before they started school. Perhaps you were one of those kids who could identify dozens of dinosaurs. And then you were excited about starting school and learning to read. But for all too many of you, that excitement didn't last very long. What happened? Was it standing in lines, sitting still and listening, not learning the things you wanted to learn? It might even have been working for grades instead of working to learn. So, how do we recover our excitement about learning? Here I have 3 suggestions. It might help to study what you love, to focus on learning instead of just grades, and maybe relearning how to learn. This video will share 5 power strategies. They might change the way you learn or even change your life. I wish I'd known all these things when I was in college. The first one is, believe it or not, get enough sleep. You know that you should get enough sleep, but you probably don't know why it's so important. College students need from 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Most students get much less sleep than this. They're sleep deprived. I was sleep deprived most of my first semester. And you know what happens when you're sleep deprived, don't you? You have trouble paying attention in class. You try taking notes, but you can't make any sense of them later. It takes much longer to read your assignments, and it's hard to remember what you read. Sometimes you need to start all over and read the assignment again. Does this sound familiar? According to research, poor sleep habits are the most important reason why most students make poor grades. And I would add that poor sleep habits also make it hard to be excited about learning. According to Doyle and Zakrajsek, when the brain is tired or exhausted, it actually shuts down several mental processes that are needed for learning. To be ready to pay attention, you must find a way to get enough sleep. Otherwise, what you're doing is making new learning difficult. So are you getting enough sleep? Common sense should tell us that adding 2 hours of sleep every night will save more than 2 hours a day in study time. You'll feel more alert, less stressed, and you'll make better grades. Okay, are you ready for the second power strategy? According to John Rady, the most important strategy for learning isn't getting enough sleep, it is get regular exercise. So are you surprised? Can exercise really help you learn? Well, first, exercise increases your heart rate. That means blood is pumped more rapidly through your body, and that includes the brain. The blood that comes through the brain brings oxygen and nutrients and takes away wastes, and it makes us more alert. It proves our ability to learn. Dr. Rady says that getting adequate exercise is the single most important thing a person can do to improve their learning. Recent research explains that exercise releases neurochemicals, that is the chemicals in the brain, that improve our ability to take in, process, and remember new information and skills. Exercise also develops new synapses, or connections in the brain that lead to learning. And if that's not enough, exercise also increases the development of new brain cells in an area that controls learning and memory. Wow! How much exercise do we need? Dr. Rady suggests 30 minutes of fairly strenuous exercise 4 to 5 times a week. And now, I think you'll love the third power strategy. Take breaks. Take study breaks. Set aside some time during the day when you can just relax. Most of us know it helps to take study breaks. If you've been studying for an hour or more, you probably aren't learning very much. But if you take a break, perhaps taking a walk or getting a snack, you're able to study more effectively. I recently discovered a wonderful video featuring Marty Lobdell, a professor talking about time management. His description of taking breaks was really exciting. He first describes a student who didn't study at all one semester and was near failure. She decided that for the next semester she would study 6 hours every day. And she chose those hours from 6 to 12 p.m. That's a mistake, going straight for 6 hours. Well, as you'll see on the next chart, she started out pretty well, but after 20 minutes, she had trouble focusing. And the problem was, she didn't stop. She kept studying, if you want to call it that, and her ability to learn decreased further and further. She began to hate studying, but she continued. And at the end of the year, she failed every class. Professor Lobdell uses 2 simple diagrams. My drawings aren't quite the same, but they're close enough. This shows the young lady studying. She starts out well, able to focus for about the first 20 minutes. And then you'll see that the line begins down because without taking breaks, her ability to focus or her ability to learn gradually went down and down and down until it was basically down to 0. This diagram shows what happens when a student takes 5-minute breaks. Lobdell says that as soon as you begin to lose your focus, your ability to pay full attention to your reading, your studying, you should stop. And after about 5-minute breaks, your ability to focus is back up to high again. And then Dr. Lobdell adds something I have never heard suggested. As soon as you stop studying, give yourself a reward. Do something you enjoy. Listen to music, eat a small snack, talk to a friend, but just enjoy your 5-minute break. And then, when you finish studying, Dr. Lobdell takes it a step further. Give yourself an even bigger reward, something you really like. Now, what I know is that all of these rewards, these happy times, is going to make you look forward to study time. You'll enjoy studying. You might even begin to find it exciting. And that will help you learn more in less time and with less stress. Now, let's go to the fourth power strategy. Try study sprints. In a race, a runner might save his energy for the end of the race when he uses every bit of energy he has left to sprint to the finish line. You can do the same thing as you study for a short period of time, perhaps as much as 20 minutes. Put all your attention and learning skills into learning as much as you can. You might decide to preview a chapter in an intensely concentrated 20 minutes. Or you might use flashcards and double the number of vocabulary words you can learn in 20 minutes. Some people find that they actually learn more in 20 minutes than they usually do in an hour because they're so focused on learning. And no, you can't do this all the time, but doing it occasionally might energize you, and it might make learning seem more exciting. And then finally we come to the fifth power strategy. And this is to focus on learning. This boy definitely appears to be focused on whatever he's writing. Daniel Goleman says, "We learn best with focused attention. As we focus on what we're learning, the brain maps that information on what we already know, making new neural connections." Well, here's the big question. When you study, how long can you really concentrate? How easily are you distracted? Do you try multitasking, perhaps trying to text while listening to a lecture? How often do you find yourself paying only partial attention? Well, here comes the shock. According to Dr. Daniel Siegel, paying close attention to what we're learning causes actual changes in our brains, making it possible for us to understand deeply and to remember much longer. But when we are distracted, multitasking, or paying only partial attention to what we're learning, our brains are not changed and we have learned nothing. One might think that partial attention would lead to partial learning, but no. According to the research, partial attention leads to no learning at all. Sometimes confused students come to me and ask, "Well, how can I learn how to focus? I can't help it, but after a while I just can't concentrate." Some of you, however, might know of 2 good ways to improve your focus, to help you concentrate for longer and longer periods of time. Do you know what they are? We just talked about study sprints, and using study sprints means focusing intensely for a short period of time to do more work in less time. The more often you do this, the better you will be able to focus, the longer you will be able to focus. And the second method is taking breaks, study breaks, the Lobdell way. As soon as you start losing your focus, stop and then reward yourself. When you feel good about your ability to study, you will work harder and longer and you will gradually improve your ability to focus. When you learn to focus, your brain is changed. You really are learning now, not just memorizing for a test and then forgetting. Now you're on your way to getting a great education. Now it's up to you. Which power strategies seem most important? Which strategies will you try first? Use what you learned in this video to learn more in less time and with less stress in order to make better grades. And have a great time. Learning should be fun. It should even be exciting. If you have comments or questions, you may leave them at my website or send me an email.